Good evening, everybody. That's relatable. Welcome to this evening's Board of Education meeting. Before we begin, I'd like to share with the audience that if you're in need of Spanish translation services, we have Lupita here to assist. Thank you. On behalf of the board, we'd like to share a reminder regarding the process for public comments during regular board meetings. For each agendized action, discussion, or information-only item, the board will hear from staff, provide an opportunity for public comment, then hold a board discussion and vote if necessary. Public comment on non-agendized items will be heard during item 6, and public comment on closed session items will be heard during item 9, before the board adjourns into closed session. Public comment is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items on the board's agenda or otherwise within the board's jurisdiction. To help us organize public comments using this system, if you wish to provide public comment, please complete a speaker card located at the entrance of the meeting room and provide it to the executive to the Chief of Human Resources, Chantel Torres, who is assisting in Michelle's absence. Speaker cards for public comment will be accepted prior to the calling for the public comment portion of an agenda item. I call this meeting to order 5:31 p.m. Would like to establish a quorum by roll call vote.
Board President Matt Glazier.
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines.
Yes.
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes. Before the board considers approval of the regular meeting agenda, I want to note that agenda item 4G regarding a bond measure has also been separately noticed for consideration at a special meeting that will also be held tonight. Trustee Odello had planned to attend all of tonight's meeting remotely. Earlier this week, however, the district identified an inadvertent clerical error in the posting of the regular meeting agenda related to Trustee Odello's remote participation. To ensure compliance under the Brown Act, he will not be remotely attending the regular meeting. However, given the need for at least 4 trustees to act on the agenda item and the fact that the public had already been told it would be addressed tonight, the district posted a separate special meeting for that one item with Trustee Odello's remote participation information. This allows the item to be considered tonight as previously indicated to the community, while also ensuring that Trustee Odello may participate in compliance with the technical requirements of the Brown Act. To this end, immediately following item 4 of the board's regular meeting agenda, the board will adjourn the regular meeting, open a special meeting for consideration of a potential bond measure, and then following the consideration of that item, close the special meeting and continue the regular meeting agenda. Accordingly, agenda item 4G will not be considered as part of tonight's regular meeting agenda, but as part of the special meeting agenda, which will be opened after the other action and discussion items. May I receive a motion to adopt the regular meeting agenda with agenda item 4G removed?
I move to adopt the agenda with agenda item 4G removed.
I'll second.
Any discussion? For a roll call vote?
Board President Matt Glazier.
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines.
Yes.
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
I notify the audience that the open session will be audio taped, broadcast, and recorded for the district's YouTube channel. I choose Sharon to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Item 2, reports. This portion of the agenda includes routine updates regarding campus activities, meeting schedules, and reports from our bargaining units, ACT and CSEA, as well as the superintendent. We will begin this evening with reports from ACT President Bill Schreier.
Good evening, Bill Schreier, President of the Association of Carmel Teachers. I have a few of my constituents and colleagues with me, and I imagine that there's some also watching along. I'm not going to give tonight's ACT report. Instead, Michelle DiGirolamo is going to deliver it. Michelle is a veteran second grade teacher at River School. In August, she will begin her 30th year at River. If you've been in Michelle's classroom, then you see the incredible care she puts into making it a safe place where her students thrive. Every time I'm there, I think how lucky her students are to have Michelle as their teacher. She exemplifies what makes this district great. Michelle serves another important role. She is ACT's lead negotiator, our bargaining chair. As the ACT president, it falls on me to appoint the bargaining chair, and one of the first things I did upon returning to the presidency was to beg Michelle to serve in that role. I did so because of her reputation as a teacher and her diligence, temperament, and leadership abilities, qualities I have observed over the decade I have worked with her on the bargaining team. I also did so because Michelle's roots in this district run deep. Her children both graduated from CUSD schools, and her husband Blaze was a CUSD site and district administrator and is now a social studies teacher at CHS. No one should question Michelle's dedication to doing what's best for this district. With that, Michelle, would you please give our report?
Thank you. That was quite an introduction. So I'm here today to talk about the bargaining process that just ended. And I'm not here to renegotiate. I'm here to let you know how our membership is feeling about this process that unfolded over the last 10 months. We began this year with very specific goals in mind. After hours of research and preparation, we decided to negotiate for an equitable salary increase for all 207 members of our unit. The reasons for choosing this type of salary increase instead of a straight percentage were simple. We wanted to help all members mitigate the high cost of living and inflation in this area. We wanted to keep starting salaries competitive, knowing we need to retain new teachers and enable young teachers to live in this area. And we also wanted to decrease the gap on our salary schedule between column 1, step 1, and column 5, step 30. This is a gap that has grown 60% in the last 15 years. Our interests were rooted in the belief that this was in the best interest of our students, as well as the long-term fiscal responsibility and health of the district. Our starting salary here is quickly being outpaced by districts like Palo Alto, Fremont, Mountain View, Los Altos school districts. We strongly believe that being able to attract the best teachers to this school district is in the best interest for the students of Carmel Unified. I am sure that you are already aware that 140 of our 207 members are in the far right column of our salary schedule. And you must already be aware that over 50 of those 207 ACT members have over 25 years of experience. 20 of these teachers are already at the 30-year mark. These are teachers who will most likely be retiring in the foreseeable future. Yet, this group of veteran teachers agreed to an equitable salary increase that disadvantaged them and benefited the lower end of the salary scale, including our preschool teachers. Why did they agree to that? Because we all care about the future of this district and because we believe that this is in the best interest of our students and because we felt this strategy served those goals. How did this play out at the table? Our bargaining team lost 10 instructional days to attend these bargaining sessions. We spent countless hours outside of the workday to prepare for these meetings. We listened as the district bargaining team repeatedly told us there was just not enough money to do what we wanted. And we believed them because they told us that they were acting at your direction. What exactly were we asking for? A 3% increase for our highest paid teachers, equitably apportioned, that would have meant a $4,865 increase in each cell of our salary scale. But we could not come to an agreement on $4,865. Instead, we were told that this would cost the district too much. We were told repeatedly that the district would have to dip into reserves, and we were told that this was done at your direction. So we settled at $4,100 per cell on the salary schedule. That is a 2.5 increase for our highest paid teachers. But it accomplished our goals in trying to attract young teachers and trying to flatten out the salary schedule. And honestly, it was that or go to impasse. So imagine our surprise a month later when we learned that the administrators are getting a 3% salary increase. Let me be really clear. We are not upset that an administrator in this district would receive a 3% salary increase. A 3% salary increase in this time of inflation, specifically here on the peninsula, is exactly what we thought everyone should have received. As a bargaining team, we do not make decisions lightly. We feel enormously responsible for the financial situation of our members while also taking into account the financial situation of the district. But as the bargaining chair, I feel we were misled and played, and this is not a game. There were things said at the bargaining table that simply are not true if you're now able to give the administrators a 3% salary increase. This is a higher percentage than more than half of our unit members will receive, including many of us standing here. Many of us at the high end of the salary scale made a sacrifice for the long-term interest of the district and for our students. But what this experience has shown us is that our interest in doing what was best for students and for the long-term health of the district was not in alignment with the district bargaining team's interests, and by extension, your interests. And as a result, we have ended interest-based bargaining, something that has been a badge of honor in this district in the past. I ask you to please think about what type of message this sends to our teachers. I also am asking you to think about what this has done to the relationship between the district and the association. I know that was long. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next is anyone from CSEA? Anna? Adam?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Adam, I'm the Vice President, CSEA. Anna couldn't be here. She's currently on vacation, but I texted her last minute on my way here to see if she had anything that she wanted me to report on behalf of CSEA, and she just wanted me to thank the board for the work with negotiations this year, and I hope you guys have a fantastic summer. So thank you all.
Thank you. And to the superintendent.
Good evening. I'll keep my comments brief this evening. School is out. We've had our typical and traditional 2 days of professional learning opportunities for our staff, which went very well, and we received a lot of positive feedback and appreciation for the offerings. And with this week, we're continuing to work on closing out this school year and preparing for the rollover into next school year, and continuing to just keep on making sure we're on track for next year. That's it.
Thank you. Agenda item 3 is the consent calendar. The board may bundle a number of items and act upon them together in one motion through the use of a consent calendar. Consent agenda items are routine items deemed to be non-controversial for which board discussion is not anticipated and for which the superintendent recommends approval. There will be no discussion of these items prior to the vote unless any member of the board requests a specific item be removed for discussion. The board will now open for public comment on agenda item 3, the consent calendar.
Not at this time.
Hearing none. Any discussion amongst the board? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Go ahead.
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
And a roll call vote?
Board President Matt Glazier,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines,
Yes.
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
Moving on to agenda item 4, action and discussion items. Agenda item 4A, supplemental health curriculum adoption recommendation by Ed Services team. Dr. Mary Petty et al.
Okay, good evening. My name is Andrew Rodriguez, and I'm joined by fellow CIA Coordinator Karina Donovan and Deputy Superintendent Mary Petty. Aligned to focus areas 1 and 2 of the CUSD strategic plan, our team will present the supplemental health curriculum recommendation from the CUSD Supplemental Health Curriculum Committee. The requirements for health education in California are outlined in 3 major documents. First, in the California Health Education Standards, which identify expected learning outcomes by grade level. Second, the health education frameworks provide guidance on how schools can implement these standards. And then finally, the California Healthy Youth Act identifies specific regulations on the scope of comprehensive health education. At all levels, the California Healthy Youth Act requires comprehensive health instruction to be age-appropriate, medically accurate, and inclusive. For instruction at the middle school and high school level, additional requirements include education on HIV prevention, STI education, and contraception.
In order to evaluate CUSD's current offerings, a committee was formed following an inclusive and equitable process. The committee was co-led by Andrew, Karina, and myself. The additional members of the committee included 2 site administrators, 4 teachers, 1 counselor, 2 nurses, and 3 parents. So the committee's objective was to catalog and review all resources that were being used up until now for all elementary, middle, and high school students. In the spirit of continuous improvement, the committee identified critical areas of need within those current health offerings. The committee then spent a great deal of time establishing priorities for implementation. We thought it was important to share the hard work and thoughtfulness this committee really put into this project. The committee met 7 times over the course of 5 months to review guiding documents such as board policies. During these meetings, the committee reviewed the current health standards, the California framework guidance from the CDE and the CDC, as well as the California Healthy Youth Act. Phase 3 included the review of 5 different curricula using a compliance rubric that was chosen by this committee. During Phase 4, the committee agreed to evaluate 3 of those 5 curricula in more detail before coming to consensus. As committee co-leaders, we originally anticipated reaching this consensus by April and bringing a recommendation forward to you alongside the district's other curriculum adoption recommendations. However, the committee determined that additional time was definitely needed to continue reviewing those materials. We also met with the Health Connected curriculum team, and we wanted to better understand the proposed implementation model so that all members felt informed and really comfortable with the final recommendation. We believe this additional time strengthened both the process of this committee as well as the recommendation being presented to you this evening. The Health Connected curriculum will continue to be taught in grades 7 and 9 to support compliance with the California Healthy Youth Act, while expanding implementation from 1 elementary school to all 3 elementary schools to provide consistent instruction in grade 5. This expansion will ensure a vertically aligned and consistent health education experience for students across the district.
As mentioned before, the committee recommends health-connected curricula for grades 5, 7, and 9, which includes 6 hours of comprehensive health instruction for each grade level. The curriculum allows for students to ask either direct or anonymous questions to foster a safe and open learning environment. Health Connected provides comprehensive training to assist with successful implementation of the curriculum. For the first year, Health Connected will provide a full day of in-person training and will support staff by modeling each of the lessons for the 5th grade certificated staff who will be teaching the curriculum. This training model reflects recommendations from site administrators and is intended to ensure staff are well prepared for present and future implementation. The teams will also have the opportunity for site-specific collaboration and planning time prior to instruction. As part of the committee's recommendation, it was determined that adding parent workshops prior to instruction would help our families feel informed regarding the curriculum details. Health Connected will offer 2 virtual workshops so that parents will have the opportunity to learn about the program, ask questions, and decide if the curriculum is appropriate for their child. We would like to take this time to thank the members of the Health Committee, including parents and staff, both from the site and district office, for your thoughtful and professional dedication to improving learning outcomes for all our students. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
That concludes our presentation, so if there are any questions.
Thank you. The board will now open up for public comment for item 4A, starting with number 1, Shell Shelley Rittermall. Apologies. Thanks.
Let's be clear. This is not about general health curriculum. This curriculum is only about sex ed and puberty. But since the presentation and the topic summary in the agenda blatantly avoided using the word sexual or even puberty, it was not clear. But let's be clear. You are approving puberty curriculum for 5th graders that now will include sexual education components, and it has not before. The table of contents for this puberty curriculum indicates lessons on gender and sexual identities and lessons on HIV. Let's be clear that you would be approving it without appropriate community input. Even though there were 2 parents included during the entire duration of the committee, there were many parents interested and interviewed that were not selected to be on this committee. But even with this high level of interest from district families, there has been no updates to the community about the committee's work progress nor community input nights. There's also has been no opportunity to review the material content and give feedback, which is done with other curriculum. Let's be clear that with the introduction of sexuality inserted into the puberty curriculum, there will be many more families opting out. This will mean more exclusion of students, not inclusion. Especially since our district has provided the message that a student cannot just be opted out of only a part of the curriculum, but has to be opted out of it all. Other districts, our district opt-out process has been very flawed to this point, with many instances of students still attending sex education teachings and receiving sex ed material, even though their parents had opted them out multiple ways. The district needs to correct their opt-out process problems or be in violation of California Education Code, and in some instances, in legal violation of the Supreme Court ruling in Mahmood versus Taylor. Let's be clear that you are also making a change in the middle school sex education. You are changing it to be taught a year earlier, from being taught in 8th grade to it being taught in 7th grade. Let's be clear that viewing the past sex ed curriculum has been a very difficult process that creates such barriers that it excludes most parents and it does not provide equal access. It's hard to have confidence in the integrity of the material when it is so inaccessible to the parents to review. Although there are over 400 pages to review, a parent is asked to make an appointment and sit with an assistant principal at the high school, and at the middle school, you're asked to come and sit in the office. Let's be clear. The sex ed content that has been used at the middle school and high school has many references to links and websites that are not vetted. These websites solicit our students to communicate with online strangers. Through the sex ed content, it links you to a website whose homepage, I'll be done in just a second, please, I'm going to continue. To a website whose homepage says that students can speak directly with people about sex. And when a student clicks on a section of the website, there's access to hundreds of articles of topics, including sex toys and sexual choking.
Please conclude your comment.
These inappropriate websites being recommended in the sex ed curriculum have been brought to the district's attention multiple times, but continue to be promoted to our students. Please delay the adoption of this item pending a review of these concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to go ahead and give this in written form so it can be included in the minutes of the meeting.
They can be given to the executive assistant.
Plus, I'm going to give her someone's
Thank you. There were no other requests for public comment, so we'll move to board discussion. Is there a motion to adopt the health-connected curriculum so we can move to discussion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the health-connected curriculum.
Second.
Okay, I'll start board discussion. Jason?
Thank you for the presentation. To be clear, the 2027 community info forum, will be really clear that parents can opt out of this and that no kids are locked into it.
Yes, for the 26-27 school year?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I have no other questions. Thanks.
Sarah?
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I have a few questions. I guess I'll just ask them all at once.
Sure.
In the presentation, it did mention that the parents would be able to review the curriculum. So I'd like to better understand what that process looks like and how parents can get involved or how they raise their hand to ask if they want to do that. And then based on the review of the curriculum, or not, if there's any parents that do want to opt out, what does that process look and feel like, and how is that being executed? And then to follow on to that, how are we improving the opt-out process? Because I do understand that there were some challenges in the past, and would just like to see how we're going to move forward with that for the 26-27 school year.
Sure. So first, I'll answer the question about the parent workshops. So I have never participated in a health-connected parent workshop, but when we had them come present to the committee, they shared that they will offer them virtually to all of our community, and that they would have the opportunity to ask any questions, as well as they would review each lesson that would be presented to the students via virtual platform. I don't want to misspeak. I'm assuming that people can raise their hand on a virtual platform and then their question would be addressed. But I think a really important point that I would like to make here is I would speak on behalf of the CIA team and myself that if anybody really wanted to review these curriculum materials, we would be happy to make an appointment here at the district office as well. Okay. Secondly, I would...
Something real quick
Sure.
to that piece. Absolutely. Curriculum, the virtual workshops that they are going to have, they did explain to us that it will be webinar style. And so parents can't see who else is on. And if they're asking a question, it goes straight to them anonymously. So it's not in a message chat. And so there isn't... there's room for them to ask a question without it going out to everybody. Yes, thank you.
And these workshops will be pushed out through Parent Square, or how is the community notified about these workshops?
Yeah, we'll have a number of different ways to communicate this. So we'll obviously use Parent Square, but I think that understanding that this is a sensitive topic, and for some sites that is going to be a slight shift in practice. Understand that we have had sex education and puberty education in the past at different sites and in different levels of depth. And this one, the curriculum that we're looking at specifically does conform to the California Healthy Youth Act specifically. One caveat, or one piece of the California Healthy Youth Act requires any type of comprehensive health education. It's often called sexual health inside of the documentation, but what it's really talking about is comprehensive health education. And so, and it does deal with sexuality, but the reality is it's dealing with puberty education. And so with the puberty education curriculum, there is a requirement once you start offering something, you are required to follow the remainder of the law as well. And so there's, I believe, 11 different items that are required specifically for or for elementary level. And then once they get into middle school and high school, there's additional requirements that are added on as part of the California Healthy Youth Act. And so it is something to consider, and it's something that when we look at a lot of the different curriculums, a lot of them actually end up looking the same simply because they're following the California law. If you take it into another state, it might look a little bit different, but the California edition specifically follow a specific set that are required by law.
And then I think we need to address the opt-out question that you had. So, first of all, opt-out forms are available as part of the parent data confirmation. In addition to that, there will be lots of communication that will go out since this is the first year of implementation. I also know that the office will have opt-out forms available. I don't want to misspeak up here tonight, so I would look for more information, but as a former teacher myself, teaching puberty and health curriculum, I also offered as a teacher opt-out forms. So I can look into that so that parents feel comfortable that they can opt out if necessary. So I think I answered. I don't know if you have anything else.
Just the last question was just what are the changes to the opt-out sort of execution, seeing that there was maybe a few issues or concerns from the last time we did this, and just ensuring that everybody who is opted out is actually opted out.
Yes. The one thing I would speak to for my department is that I'm pretty well versed in communication, and I think that I would make sure that we would have scaffolded communication go out, especially again since this is the first year of this implementation, so that parents are receiving communication in multiple ways.
I want to talk about the students for a second, given that that's what we're up to here. It's easy to get to talk about parents and policy. But what defines the success of the implementation of this curriculum? How do we know that we are succeeding in educating students about comprehensive health? And what does that do for a community of students to be well educated?
Feel free to step in because I know Andrew has some comments regarding this, but I would first say this. For our students to benefit from this curriculum, we would want to ensure that our that our teachers feel comfortable with teaching this curriculum, right? And that was one of the main reasons why we didn't come to board in April. The committee needed more time to really vet this curriculum and feel comfortable with the implementation model. And that is the main reason why the committee opted to have health connected instructors come on board for the first year to ensure that the teachers felt really good about what they would be teaching, number one. Number two, I think it's really important to point out that there will be a pretty comprehensive training, a full day of training, as well as our teachers do have collaboration days. And Karina and Andrew have already, put it into their agendas on the 5th grade collaboration days to ensure this discussion topic is agendized so that teachers, again, have the information needed and feel comfortable moving forward.
Yeah, when we're talking about success with students specifically, I really wanted to emphasize the fact that this goes beyond mathematics. This goes beyond reading. This is something that regardless, it's going to affect your life. And I think that the importance of health education, understanding what's happening in your body, that you shouldn't be ashamed about what's happening. And if there's some kind of health issue, that you have the language to ask the right questions and get the help that you need is very important. Undiagnosed, health issues happen in youth because of the embarrassment and the shame that might be involved. And so it is important for students to understand, a trusted adult, which is a part of not only the California Health Youth Act, but the curriculum itself, and being able to discuss that with the trusted adult so that they can get the help that they need when needed. And additionally, one thing that's also built into a lot of this is dealing with consent. And so although we do teach consent early on inside of, starting from really kindergarten is part of our, it is part of the health standards, but it is also part of like our second step curriculum, which we had a chance to evaluate during this process as well. But we understand that, year over year, we want to kind of build up the language and build up the age appropriateness of this. And so it's not like we're going to, the goal isn't to go full in on, big discussions right away, but be able to build in those scaffolds And so by the time that they get into middle school, they're able to have middle school discussions. And when they get into high school, that they can have high school discussions. And so understanding that there are levels to this, and we need to make sure that we acknowledge that and that we give the students the tools that they need at the right time. Understanding that, you know, puberty education specifically is outlined as a 5th grade standard inside of the, and so when we're looking at like anatomy and we're looking at, you know, other parts of, or you know, student bodies in general, it's part of what our students are required to also learn.
Thank you. That's great. Yeah, and then my next question is about compliance with California and federal law and the awareness of how federal law changes and when it doesn't square with California law and what our obligation is. I imagine you're fully informed about what Mahmoud v. Taylor says and what Mirabelli versus Bonta say, and that you will advise us as a district to ensure our compliance with California and federal law.
Yes.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions. We have a motion on the table. Anything else for discussion? For a roll call vote on the motion to adopt the Health Connected as a supplemental program for elementary, middle, and high school education.
Board President Matt Glacier,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines.
Yes.
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
Agenda item 4B, adoption of board policy 5131.8, mobile communication devices, AB 3216 compliance, presented by Manuel Carrera, Director of Information Technology, and Andrew Rodriguez, Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment Coordinator.
All right, good evening again. My name is Andrew Rodriguez, CIA Coordinator, and I'm joined by Manuel Carrera, Senior Director of Information Technology, and today we are bringing forward Board Policy 5131.8, mobile communication devices for adoption to address the requirements in Assembly Bill 3216. I need the... Next slide, please.
Mary, do you have the... Oh, you pocketed it. Thank you.
Assembly Bill 3216, the Phone Free School Act, adds Section 48901.7, the Education Code, and, to the Education Code, and requires every California school district to adopt a policy on student smartphone use. There are 4 requirements for district policy outlined in the Assembly Bill. 1, we must adopt a policy by July 1st, 2026. 2, the policy must limit or prohibit smartphone use during the school day. 3, it must be developed with significant stakeholder participation. And 4, we must review and update it at least every 5 years. Current policy at the site level falls into one of the following 2 categories. Fully off and away during instructional hours, or off during instructional time and available during non-instructional time. These 2 policies are in line with the policies from schools and districts around the state. Ultimately, adopting policy formalizes and aligns current practices district-wide with little disruption to students or families. One of the charges of the CUSD Technology Committee was to gather input from our students, staff, and community regarding current and potential cell phone policy. The results of our outreach can be seen here. And so if you look here, we see that we had over 1,000 responses, and then we'll be going into the disaggregated data in just a minute. All right, so looking at the disaggregated data by group, based on the on the data gathered from students, students understand the need for a clear policy, but prefer a policy that allows access to phones during common times like lunch. They also preferred rules that differed between elementary, middle, and high school.
Thank you, Andrew. The committee gathered feedback from students, parents, and staff. I'd like to spend the next few minutes sharing some of the themes that emerged and how they informed the recommendation before you tonight. Parents were remarkably consistent on 2 points. First, they want clear expectations. Nearly every parent who responded indicated that whatever policy we adopt should be easy for students, families, and staff to understand. Second, most parents expressed concerns that smartphones can negatively affect learning, attention, and student well-being. Where opinions began to differ was around grade level. Families of our younger students generally favored more restrictive approaches, while high school families were more supportive of allowing access during non-instructional time. One note regarding the survey data, Captain Cooper School is not shown separately because we received too few responses to report the results as a standalone group. Those responses were reviewed and considered by the committee, and the feedback we received was generally consistent with the trends that we saw at other elementary school sites. Staff feedback was the most consistent of any group that we surveyed. The majority of staff favored limiting students' phone use during the school day and expressed concern about the impact that smartphones can have on attention, engagement, and learning. At the same time, more than half of staff felt that a single approach may not be acceptable at every grade level. That distinction became important as the committee developed its recommendation. While there was broad support for reducing distractions, there was also recognition that the needs of a first grader differ from the needs of a high school senior. This slide helps to answer an important question. Was staff feedback isolated to one school site? The answer is no. Across Carmel River, Carmel Middle, and Tularcito, staff responses were remarkably consistent. Regardless of site, most staff supported keeping phones away during the school day and expressed concerns about their impact on learning. At Carmel High School, staff generally reported that the current Pocket Chart system is working as intended. Most respondents indicated that it reduces distraction, improves engagement, and is being used consistently in classrooms. Taken together, the staff data suggests that our current practices are largely aligned with what educators are experiencing in the classroom. This brings us to the recommendation before the board. The legislation essentially gives districts two pathways. The first is limited use, where phones are available outside of instructional time, but are off and away during class. The second is prohibited use, where phones remain stored and out of sight during the school day. Regardless of which option is selected, the law includes important exceptions for emergencies, health needs, teacher or administrator approval, and accommodations provided through an IEP. Our recommendation reflects both the feedback we received and the practices already in place across our schools. This recommendation is intentionally designed around the needs of each school community rather than applying a single rule across each grade level. For Carmel High School, we are recommending option 1, limited use during non-instructional time. The survey results showed strong support from both students and families for the existing Pocket Chart system, and staff generally reported that it is working effectively. For all other sites, we are recommending option 2, prohibited use during the school day. The most difficult discussion centered on Carmel Middle School. Middle school students expressed a desire during our focus session to have access during lunch and breaks. However, when we looked at all stakeholder groups together, parents and staff were more supportive of a more restrictive approach. Ultimately, the committee felt that the recommendation best reflected the overall feedback and developmental needs of middle school students. Importantly, this recommendation does not represent a significant operational change for our schools. In most cases, it formalizes practices that are already in place across our school sites, and it'll bring Carmel Unified into compliance with Assembly Bill 3216 before the July 1st deadline. I would like to thank the Technology Committee, our site administrators, students, families, and staff who participated in this process. We appreciate the board's consideration and are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Do we have any requests for public comment on this item?
Not at this time.
Okay, hearing none, may I receive a motion to bring this to the table?
I'll make a motion.
To adopt the board policy 5131.8. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and discussion starting with Jason.
Thank you for all your hard work in this and all the surveys, and I have no further questions. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sarah.
I also don't have any questions, but thank you to the Technology Committee and the staff and the students who participated in this. I think it was really important data collection that you did to get feedback around this, especially as you mentioned around the middle school usage. So thank you for looking into that and appreciated the presentation tonight.
Yeah, I'm compelled by the number of people that participated in the survey. It seems significant. And then the continuity of staff responses across the different sites makes this really understandable and seems like we're resulting in a good result. Sorry. Okay, if there's no other comments or questions, there's a motion on the table. We'll go to the roll call.
Board President Matt Glacier,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines.
Yes.
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
Agenda item 4C, 2025-2026 California Dashboard Local Indicators Self-Reflection Report, presented by Dr. Mary Petty, Deputy Superintendent of Ed Services.
Good evening again. Thank you for having me. This evening, I will be presenting the district's local indicator report. Local indicators are state-required measures that provide districts an opportunity to reflect on the implementation of key programs and services that support student success. Tonight, I will briefly review each of those priority areas, the evidence used to assess implementation, and the district's reported status. To begin, I'd like to provide a brief overview of what local indicators are and how they are reported. While the California Dashboard includes state indicators such as academic performance, graduation rates, and chronic absenteeism, local indicator measures measure areas that require local reflection and evidence of implementation. These indicators help us evaluate how effectively we are implementing key programs and services such as academic standards, parent engagement, school climate, and course access. Each year, districts complete a self-assessment, present the results at a public board meeting, and report the findings through the California Dashboard. For several local indicators, districts use a state-developed self-reflection tool that rates implementation on a scale from initial implementation to full implementation and then to sustainability. The detailed ratings and the supporting evidence are included in the board materials tonight. This evening, I will focus on those key findings and the evidence used to determine the district's status in each of those priority areas. This slide provides an overview of the state priority areas included in the local indicators process. These measures focus on implementation rather than outcomes and help districts evaluate key programs and services as mentioned. I'll briefly review each of these priority areas, the evidence used to assess, and CUSD's reported status. Priority 1 focuses on the foundational conditions necessary for student learning, including qualified teachers, instructional materials, and safe facilities. Based on the most recent DataQuest data and district monitoring, CUSD has met all requirements for this indicator. All students had access to standards-aligned instructional materials. No facilities concerns were identified at the time of this inspection, and teacher assignment data reflected a very low rate of misassignments at 1%. A teacher misassignment occurs when an assignment is not fully aligned with a teacher's credential authorization or state assignment requirements. The district monitors assignments regularly and works to ensure that all placements are compliant and appropriately matched to student instructional needs. I do want to provide some really important context regarding facilities. While the facility inspection tool identified no concerns at the time of inspection, this should not be interpreted to mean that our facilities do not have significant needs. The inspection reflects whether facilities are safe, clean, and functional at a specific point in time. Many of our buildings are aging and require substantial modernization and infrastructure improvements. This result is a reflection of the outstanding work of our maintenance and facilities teams who work diligently every day to maintain safe and functional learning environments despite the age of many of our facilities. Their efforts allow us to meet this standard while continuing moving forward with long-term facility improvements and bond planning to address the district's future needs. Priority 2 evaluates implementation of state academic standards, access to aligned instructional materials, professional learning, and educator support systems. CUSD met this indicator with most areas rated at full implementation or full implementation and sustainability. English language development was identified as an area for continued growth, and the district is providing target support and professional learning to strengthen ELD implementation while preparing for the pilot of a new ELA curriculum aligned to the state framework. Priority 3 measures family engagement and participation in school and district decision-making. CUSD met this indicator through ongoing engagement structures such as advisory committees, site councils, LCAP surveys, and engagement sessions for the LCAP. This is a strong area for CUSD as school site staff regularly meet with families and maintain consistent two-way communication throughout the year. Input from families is actively used to inform district planning and decision-making. Priority 6 measures school climate, including student engagement, safety, and connectedness, using multiple sources of student, staff, and family feedback, as well as attendance and our behavioral data. CUSD has met this indicator. We use multiple measures of student voice, including student surveys and the annual LCAP survey, to better understand student perceptions of belonging, engagement, and well-being. CUSD monitors safety and wellness indicators such as suspension and expulsion rates, as well as behavioral and safety data, along with engagement measures, including attendance, chronic absenteeism, and the participation in all of our extracurricular activities and athletics. Together, these measures indicate a strong and supportive climate in our schools across the district. Priority 7 measures access to a broad course of study outside of scheduled core classes. So CUSD met this indicator with students in grades 1st through 8th grade accessing enrichment programs such as arts, world language, STEM, robotics, and computer science in addition to the core instruction. In grades 9 through 12, students have access to electives, CTE pathways, dual enrollment, AP courses, supporting both college and career readiness and personalized learning pathways. For the 26-27 school year, CUSD is exploring additional dual enrollment opportunities to enhance the engineering pathway, exploring an opportunity to dual enroll in video production and horticulture, possibly at CVHS. CUSD will continue to expand the use of the CCGI and explore the use with the Special Education Department and the AVID program. As always, in summary, all local indicators were reported as met, reflecting strong implementation across the district's educational programs. Our strengths include strong implementation of state academic standards by our quality teaching staff, broad course access for students, meaningful family engagement, positive school climate systems, and a strong foundation of qualified, very qualified staff, instructional materials, and safe learning environments. As part of our commitment to continuous improvement, we will continue strengthening English language development practices, expanding support for our multilingual learners, ensuring equitable access and outcomes for all student groups, and addressing the long-term modernization and infrastructure needs for our facilities. As part of the CUSD Forward strategic plan, one of the greatest strengths emerging across our district is the growing alignment between our school sites and the district departments. As human resources, business services, educational services, the superintendent's office, and our site teams work more closely together, we are creating a more coherent system focused on a shared vision for students. Although not perfect, I am excited by the progress we are making and the opportunities ahead as we continue to strengthen the collective work on behalf of our students, our staff, and our families. Overall, these results reflect a district that is not only meeting state expectations, but is committed to the ongoing growth and improvement, all in service of our students. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Were there any requests for public comments on this item?
No.
Hearing none, may I receive a motion to bring this to the table?
I make a motion to approve the 2025-2026 local performance indicator self-reflections as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, and the discussion starting with Jason.
Thank you for the good news. I'm just glad to see how well we're doing. And I have no questions for you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Sarah?
I also don't have any questions. Thank you for a thorough presentation. Thank you for making it so centered around our staff and our students, and all of the detail is incredibly important. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for enumerating the areas of growth. equity through the ELD program and continuing to focus to ensure equitable outcomes across all student groups is really essential to what makes us a great community and a great district. So thank you for highlighting that. I also don't have any other questions about the meeting of the other indicators. So with that, if there's no other discussion, we'll go for a roll call vote.
Board President Matt Glacier,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines,
Yes.
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
We're at, yeah, don't go too far, Mary. Agenda item 4D, 2026.
Are you guys sick of me?
Yes. No, we're not sick of you. I thought you said stick with you. Stay up here. Agenda item 4D, 2026-2027 Local Control and Accountability Plan LCAP approval, presented by Dr. Mary Petty.
Where are we? I apologize. Well, I will say this, the LCAP, there was no feedback, there was no request for changes. I did not make any other modifications. So the recommendation is to approve the 26-27 LCAP, the Local Control Accountability Plan, for our students and our staff.
Yeah, as it was presented at the last board
Correct.
meeting. Were there any requests for public comment on this item?
No.
Okay, may I receive a motion to bring this to the table?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2026-2027 Local Control and Accountability Plan, otherwise known as LCAP, as presented.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Okay.
Just thank you for clarifying that this was previously presented. I don't want it to feel like we're just, doing something that we didn't
Nope,
already.
tonight we're approving
Yes.
what I was already presented at the last board meeting.
Yes, thank you for clarifying.
Right, there was a public hearing and the presentation, and any feedback would have been implemented.
Yes.
And this is the adoption of what was presented.
Yes, the feedback session was open for 2 weeks as well.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, we'll go to a roll call vote.
Board President Matt Glacier,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines.
Yes,
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
Thank you.
thank you.
Agenda item 4E, 2026-2027 fiscal year budget adoption and statement of excess reserves, presented by Yvonne Perez, Chief Business Official.
Yes, thank you. So tonight, this is adoption of the 26-27 budget, and it was presented to you on the June 3rd meeting with all of the information.
Thank you. Were there any requests for public comment on this item?
No.
Okay, hearing none, may I receive a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2026-2027 general operating budget and 2026-2027 Carmel Unified School District Statement of Reasons for Excess Reserves.
I'll second.
Is there any board discussion? Okay, hearing none, again, this was presented at the June 3rd meeting. We'll go to a roll call vote.
Board President Matt Glacier,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines.
Yes,
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
Agenda item 4F, resolution number 26-12, the Education Protection Act, presented by Yvonne Perez, Chief Business Official.
Yes, this is an annual resolution that is required by the state, and so I can answer any questions that you might have about it, but it is an annual resolution, and I'm recommending approval.
Thank you. Were there any requests for public comment on this item?
No.
Hearing none, may I receive a motion?
I'll move to approve resolution number 26-12, the Education Protection Account.
second.
Is there any board discussion or questions? Okay, given that this is a routine resolution and with recommendation for approval, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Board President Matt Glacier,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines.
Yes,
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
So a reminder, agenda item 4G will be considered as the only item as part of the special meeting at the conclusion of agenda item 4. Moving on to agenda item 4H, tentative agreements between the Association Carmel Teachers, ACT, and the Carmel Unified School District, and the associated AB 1200 public disclosure documents and salary schedules, presented by Craig Chavez, Chief Human Resources Officer.
Good evening. So the parties have reached a tentative agreement, as noted in the item, in 3 areas. Article 2, salary and wages. And for that section of the agreement, for the 25-26 school year, the associated salary schedule shall be increased by $4,100 per cell, retroactive to July 1 of 2025. And for the 25-26 school year, the child development teacher salary schedule, which is developed a little bit differently in terms of the structure, shall be increased by an additional $2.50 per cell, effective July 1, 2025. These agreements reflect an estimated equivalent of a 3% increase for the bargaining unit. Article 7, safety conditions of employment. Deleted were former sections A through D of that particular article, and they were replaced with a new section A with subsections 1 through 8. The new language broadens workplace health and safety provisions, adds reporting and response procedures for safety concerns, threats, harassment, and workplace violence, and clarifies district responsibilities and informs employees' access to external legal and administrative remedies. And then finally, Article 10, staff development, deleted former staff development provisions, which were very out of date, related to site-level administration funding and allowable expenditures, and replaced them with a framework that establishes a purpose of professional development, creating an annual district association review process, and forming an association-appointed professional development committee, and requiring annual development and issuance of a professional development plan. So that is the totality of the agreement with ACT Bargaining Unit, and it is recommended for your approval.
Thank you. Were there any requests for public comment?
Not on this item.
Okay. Thanks. You can approach. That makes sense. I understand why.
We got confused. Good evening. Thank you for letting us approach the bench and give you some paperwork. So, hi, I'm Elizabeth Marsh. I've been a teacher at Carmel River School for 22 years. I'm the immediate past president of the Association of Carmel Teachers and a past member of the bargaining team. First, I'd like to correct something that I heard frequently while I was at the bargaining table, which was that the district was spending more and more on teacher salaries as a percentage of the total budget. I wasn't at the bargaining table this year, but it's my understanding that was said this year as well. Examining the district's own data that you have in front of you reveals that over the last 5 years, spending on the classified unit has increased, spending on the non-represented unit stayed level, and spending on the certificated unit decreased by 5%. Additionally, I'd like to comment on the experience I had in collaborating with the district to solve concerns when I was president. I wish I could report that our teachers' concerns were usually met with compassion, curiosity, and a spirit of collaboration. Instead, I found myself in a position similar to what Michelle described for you earlier this evening. Teachers often felt unheard, unvalued, and as if they'd wasted valuable time, energy, and goodwill in trying to resolve problems collaboratively. This bargaining season, ACT leadership worked thoughtfully to gain membership support for the idea of improving the salary schedule to the advantage of new teachers, which disadvantages veteran teachers. Veteran teachers believe their sacrifice would end up benefiting the entire organization. The district chose not to see the value in this effort toward the greater good, and instead dishonored the efforts we made and lost the opportunity to capitalize on the spirit of collaboration. I understand that there are inherent conflicting interests between labor and management, but we look to district leadership for signs that we're in this together. I appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Were there any other requests for public comment?
No.
Okay, hearing none, may I receive a motion to approve the tentative agreement between ACT and CUSD and the associated AB 1200 public disclosure documents and salary schedules?
I move to approve the tentative agreements between ACT and CUSD and the associated AB 1200 public disclosure documents and salary schedules.
Second.
Okay, we'll begin board discussion. Jason?
I have no questions or comments. It's new data the way we were presented, so I don't really have time to review it to form pertinent questions. But it was agreed to, is my understanding, so I'm willing to move forward.
Yeah. Sarah?
I have no questions at this time.
Okay. Yeah, my only comments are around what is understood to be bargaining in good faith, is to be bargaining in the benefit of the district and in the benefit of everybody sitting in this room, with a dedication to success for student outcomes and a dedication to the consideration with the most information that we have, and understanding that we were seeking and continue to seek support and finding ways to collaborate, understanding that it has to happen with all of us and that it can't happen in a vacuum. It requires our understanding of what the needs of all staff, all units and unrepresented groups, what the needs are, what the district's capacity is, and to meet each other. I have said since I started here that I believe in the right to work. I believe in the right to organize, and it's incredibly important to me that we come to the table and bargain in good faith. I believe we arrive at this agreement with that understanding, having been given the most accurate information, and that the interests were expressed to us as clearly as possible, even given that the interests of the association were written in paper for our final session, and that was returned to the association and approved with an incredibly high rating. That is successful bargaining in my understanding. So I stand here in good faith and with pride, actually, to before all of you adopt this tentative agreement as presented, knowing that we as a board support you as teachers, we support this district, and our dedication and our sole result is about student outcomes and a good place to work. So I don't have any other comments. I don't really have any other questions that need clarity. So then I would go to a roll call vote.
Board President Matt Glacier,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines,
Yes.
Board Member Jason Ravenzi.
Yes.
Thank you for your participation and all the information that you brought to us. Agenda item of 4HI. Tentative agreements between California School Employees Association, CSEA, and its Chapter 190, and the Carmel Unified School District and associated AB 1200 public disclosure documents and salary schedules, presented by Craig Chavez, Chief Human Resources Officer.
So the parties have reached a tentative agreement, as noted, and I'll walk through those as well. With relation to Article 6, salary and wages, there was a tentative agreement reached in a 2-year period of time. First, for the 25-26 school year, that there shall be a 3% increase to the 24-25 classified salary schedules effective July 1, 2025. And then secondarily, for the 26-27 school year, a 2% increase effective July 1, 2026, and also that it would be further increased by a percentage as a result of the application of a contingent salary formula, retroactive to July 1, 2026, which is described in the associated documents. The article around some other areas was also updated to ensure that language complies with applicable laws and codes. In regards to Article 5 holidays, there were corrections made to align with Education Code for holiday eligibility, and also to clean up the ordering and the listing of holidays that are in that particular article. Article 12 transfers. The language was updated to provide clarity for members about the processes to be followed when a vacancy exists. The language further clarifies voluntary transfers, involuntary transfers, promotions, and medical transfers as they relate to vacancies within the district. And then a new article related to technology. This article creates a comprehensive framework governing the use of technology, artificial intelligence, automation, employee monitoring, and data privacy, and it establishes employee protections related to surveillance, personal device use, after-hours communications, data security, and the implementation of new technologies that may affect their working conditions. So this is brought to you as in its totality, and would close negotiations for 25-26, and it is recommended to approve this.
Thank you. Were there any requests for public comment on this item?
Yes, I have one.
Liz, Mayor? Oh, got it. Okay, so there's no public comment on this item. I want to make sure, as we change the order of the agenda, that everyone has an equal opportunity to participate in the agenda item that they intend to speak on. So if there's no public comment seen for this agenda item, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the tentative agreements between CSCA and its Chapter 190 and CUSD and the associated AB 1200 public disclosure documents and salary schedules.
I'll second.
Start board discussion. Jason?
No questions or comments, thank you.
Sarah?
None at this time.
I have none at this time. We'll go to a roll call vote.
Board President Matt Glazier.
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines.
Yes.
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
Agenda item 4J, salary increases for non-represented employees for 2025-2026 and 2026-27 with salary schedules presented by Craig Chavez.
So as has been the case in the past in our practice, when an agreement is reached with California School Employees Association and the Carmel Association of Teachers, the district has extended similar updates to unrepresented employees who fall into both certificated and classified categories. The update is as follows. It is the same in terms of its totality for the 25-26 school year, that all non-represented salary schedules shall be increased by 3%, retroactive to July 1, 2025. And then for 26-27, it does follow the agreement with the classified association, in that all non-represented salary schedules shall be increased by 2% effective July 1, 2026. Not retroactive. And in September of 2026, the salary schedule shall further be increased retroactively to July 1, 2026 by a percentage which is equal to that formula application in the classified agreement.
Thank you. Receive public comment on agenda item 4J. Thank you.
Good evening. Oh, sorry, I'll wait for my.
That's okay. Yes. Aaron was first, but you can go, and then Aaron, is that okay? Ms. Barkahal. Okay.
Okay. Hi, my name's Liz Mayer, and I've been an educator for 20 years, the last 12 of which have been here at CUSD, mostly at the middle school, but also at Carmel High School, where I am currently teaching summer school. So school is not completely out. And I've had the pleasure of teaching many of your children and hope to continue to do so. And I'm grateful that my own children have benefited from a lot of the people in this very room. And I joined the field of education 20 years ago with Teach for America to ensure that every child has access to an equitable and excellent education. And I've been able to instill that with students here historically, with the support of a district that has given us all the support that we've needed and asked for. I had some other notes prepared, but I want to just comment on some of the things that I've heard tonight. It sounds like there might be a misunderstanding about why so many of us have shown up tonight. And I want to say that we've heard the number 3% over and over. And while a lot of my colleagues gave up 10 instructional days from the classroom, we were not allowed to have the same 3% that was granted to our other colleagues in the district. And we heard reasons for that, were that there wasn't enough support financially for that. And I think we, from my understanding, feel a little blindsided by having a 3% raise come in after 10 months of negotiation, 10 days out of the classroom, which is time away from students, money from the district. And I think we can do better. I think as a district, we have historically done better, and we can do better. I think we can come up with a more efficient, solutions-based strategy that's more equitable for everybody involved, that leaves everybody at the end of the day feeling supported and able to then support our students. When we have the support of a district behind us, we can do what we do every day. We go the extra mile for our students. We take them on trips to other countries to support them at this critical time of their lives, like I'm going to be doing next year. And again, I just thank you for everything you've done for us in the past, and just really hope that we can continue to move forward together as one ship and look back at this moment and this time next year, and just be grateful that we've come together instead of farther apart as a district. Thank you.
Thank you. Aaron Barkall.
Good evening. My name is Erin Barkahall. I am the music teacher at River School and a Carmel resident. I have taught in Carmel Unified for 14 years and have taught for 22 years. I am also the parent of 2 Carmel Middle School students. My children are thriving at CMS thanks to the outstanding education they have received beginning at Carmelo, up through River School, and into CMS. As the River School music teacher, I am able to bring the love of music through dance and play to all our students TK through 5th. I love being able to see our musicians continue through CMS and CHS with our exceptional music staff. I am also so appreciative of the many supportive parents that we have at River and those who support our teachers through our music boosters. I feel supported and appreciated by my colleagues and River families. I do not feel that same support and appreciation from our district office. I am concerned about the district prioritizing administrative salary increases and property improvements over investing in students, classrooms, and educators. Our Carmel Unified teachers are incredibly well educated, with over 50% of our staff in the final column. That means that we have over 75 units beyond a bachelor's degree, and many of us have our master's. We currently have some of the best teachers in the area of California here in our district. However, many of those outstanding educators will be retiring soon, and we need to recruit the best educators to fill those holes. Our union simply asked this year to have a SEL increase that would benefit our newest teachers the most, keeping our low-end salaries competitive, with the goal that we will be able to attract the best new teachers and that they would be able to afford to live on the peninsula. This means prioritizing investments in classrooms and educators. For the first time, our district administrators are me-tooing the CSEA agreement of 3% instead of the ACT agreement. ACT wanted to ask for a SEL increase that was 3% of our top earners. That agreement did not reach the board because the district negotiating team did not provide accurate information to the board. We are receiving 2.5% of our highest earners. Our superintendent is also receiving 2.5%. If 2.5% was enough for the educators and superintendent, why was it not enough for the administrators? Each one of the educators that you see tonight and the ones tuning in on YouTube work hard for our students. We need district management to prioritize our students and the educators who support them. Early in my career at CUSD, there was a climate of mutual respect and collaboration between our union teachers and district office, a spirit of a shared purpose and common goals in educating our students. This most recent negotiation and most recent years has not continued that same spirit of collaboration. My hope is that we can get back to the climate of mutual respect and shared common vision so that Carmel Unified will once again set the standard for public education in California. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill.
Yeah, I guess I would ask you, Bill Schreier, 23-year teacher and president of the Association of Carmel Teachers. I guess I would ask you all to wonder, why would 60 teachers come out in summer? There must be a good reason. And I'll be honest with you, Matt, I think you missed the point with your last comments. We found out on Friday, when the board agenda was published, that the administrators, for the first time, it's not correct when it says here that they get CSEA. That has never been the case. That is an outright inaccuracy. To be clear, it's always ACT. Look at the salary schedule. You'll see at the bottom where it says ACT, ACT, ACT. So that is false. And I feel really angry right now about that. And that's what you're operating with, misinformation. So when you think Well, 3%. Everyone got 3%. It is not true. Half our unit is not getting 3%, and we were okay with that. What has motivated this is the 11th hour disclosure that our highest paid employees will be getting huge raises that apparently this district could not afford for veteran teachers. That's why we're here. Thank you.
All right. Were there any other requests for public comment?
No.
Hearing none, may I receive a motion?
I move to approve the salary increase for non-represented employees for the 2025-26 and the 2026-27 with the associated salary schedules as presented.
Second.
I'll begin board discussion with Jason.
I have no questions or comments. Thank you.
Sarah?
I have no comments at this time, but I do want to thank those of you who are here this evening and want to thank those of you who made public comment. I appreciate hearing your feedback and your perspective, and just thank you.
I also have no comments. We'll go to a roll call vote.
Board President Matt Glazier,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines,
Yes.
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
Moving on to agenda item 4K, Legal Services Agreement. Dennis Woliver Kelly, Attorneys at Law, and Fagan Friedman and Full Frost, Attorneys at Law, presented by Sharon Ofek.
Good evening. So annually, in order to renew our contracts for legal services, we must bring forward a contract and have a discussion about the performance of our legal teams. So this evening, we have for you two contracts. Dennis Woliver Kelly, DWK, who provides most of our legal services in the district. And we also have Fagan, Full Frost and Freeman, who provide legal services for special education. And that's, where we are. We just have to have a discussion about the services, and I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have related to those services. And then after that discussion, and if the services are deemed to be satisfactory, we can go ahead and consider the contracts presented.
Were there any requests for public comment on this item?
No.
Okay, hearing none, may I receive a motion?
So are we just making a motion to open it up for board discussion, or the motion to?
Oh, yeah. That's exactly right, to bring it to the table.
Okay, I'll make a motion to open it to board discussion to evaluate DWK.
Second.
Okay, for board discussion, Jason?
I'm confident in the advice that DWK has given us, and the new firm that we've been using for special ed seems to be even better with their specialty in special ed. So I'm happy to approve it.
Sarah?
I'm clear on the spectrum of services each of those organizations provide to us, so I have no further questions about them at this time.
Yeah, I would speak in favor of the adoption of these agreements, given the work that DWK has given us, the reduction in overall legal expenditure year over year, and the advice that we get when we are faced with legal questions in a variety of arenas. So.
Just to provide some clarification or additional information, I know that all three of you mentioned DWK. The special education services are received by the special education department, and in consultation with them, they are satisfied with the services they're receiving and the support they're receiving as well.
Yeah, understood. So that's Fagan, Freeman, and Full Frost, F3.
Correct.
Any other questions or comments? May I receive a motion?
I'll make a motion based upon the satisfactory evaluation of legal services. I move to approve the independent contractor services agreements with Dennis Woliver Kelly and Fagan, Friedman, and Full Frost for their legal services.
I'll second that.
For a roll call vote?
Board President Matt Glazier,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines,
Yes.
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
Okay, now we get procedurally a little bit awkward. As I mentioned at the start of the meeting, after consideration of item 4 of the regular board meeting agenda, we will be adjourning the regular meeting, opening a special meeting for the consideration of a potential bond measure, and then following the consideration of that item, closing the special meeting and continuing the regular meeting. The board is doing so to allow Trustee Odello to participate by teleconference during the special meeting for the board's consideration of the bond measure that requires 4 members to make any determination. May I receive a motion to adjourn the regular meeting until the conclusion of the special meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the regular meeting until the conclusion of the special meeting.
I'll second.
Roll call vote?
Board President Matt Glazer,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines.
Yes.
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
I adjourn this meeting at 6:55. That Jason. Or Jake.
Hello.
Welcome, Jake. Okay, welcome to the Board of Education's special meeting. As I mentioned previously, the board called this meeting to allow Trustee Odello to participate remotely for the consideration of one item regarding a potential bond measure. After the board's consideration of this item, we will close this meeting and continue with the regular meeting. Please know that Lupita is continuing to provide translation, and all the same procedures for public comment that the board uses for the regular meeting apply for this meeting. Because this is a special meeting, the opportunity for public comment will be limited to the one item before the board during this special meeting. I call this special meeting to order at 6:56 p.m. and would now like to establish a quorum by roll call vote.
Board President Matt Glazer,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines.
Yes.
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
And Board Member Jake Odello.
Yes.
Thank you. May I receive a motion to adopt the special meeting agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to adopt the special meeting agenda as presented.
I'll second.
For a roll call vote?
Board President Matt Glazer,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines.
Yes.
Board Member Jason Remenzi.
Yes.
Board Member Jake Odello.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 2A on the special meeting, resolution number 26-11, ordering a school bond election on November 3rd, 2026, and authorizing necessary actions in connection therewith, which will be presented by Yvonne Perez, Chief Business Official.
Yes, thank you. This item was presented and discussed in detail at the June 3rd board meeting, so I will not repeat that presentation tonight, although it is included on the agenda item. The resolution before you would place a general obligation bond measure on the November ballot in the amount of $250 million. If the board calls the election, the measure goes to the district's voters, and the decision on whether to authorize the bonds rests with them. Bond funds, if approved, are restricted to capital facilities and cannot be used for any other purpose. We have our bond counsel and Shin Green, our financial advisor, and Meredith Johnson, who is the attorney at law and our bond counsel, on Zoom. And Joy Coomer is our communication consultant in case you have any additional questions that I may not be able to answer. So the action before the board is whether to adopt the resolution and place the measure on the ballot.
Thank you. Were there any requests for public comment on this item?
No.
Confirming there's no request for public comment on this item, may I receive a motion?
I move to adopt resolution number 26-11, ordering a school bond election. Do you want to make a comment on this special? Okay, so please approach it's important to do so through the microphone so those watching at home can hear you. Thank you.
I apologize for misunderstanding.
That's why I'm calling for it, to make sure everyone has an equal opportunity to participate.
That. My name is Stefan Meyer. I'm a teacher here at Carmel Middle School. 29 years, a couple years outside of the district. I want to start off by thanking you all for your service. I appreciate it, and I honestly appreciate your time for listening to a public comment at this time. Today, I'd like to speak to a concern I've heard among citizens of the area regarding the bond proposal. Specifically, I believe that trying to pass bond during a maybe unexpected inflationary period sends an unbalanced message to voters. Inadvertently, and regardless of original intent, voters might perceive this disconnect with the November bond proposal. So maybe the timing is just off, especially in this time where everything is being perceived as a tax. And of course, there's the concern of tax cost overruns in construction with inflation working against us. I believe, and many of my peers believe, perception and messaging for the district right now is critical. Perhaps consider that the message should be in favor of people, and people of meaning students and staff, with a focused message of we are supporting the best and consistent learning situation for today's CUSD children and future children. That means much of this requires rebuilding season, maybe 2 or 3, for the staff at Carmel Middle School, Carmel High School, Captain Cooper, Tularcitos River, and at Carmelo. Meaning specifically the younger staff and any potential future staff who will need to be able to afford living in the area, the living expenses of this area. Perhaps making a huge building footprint change is not necessary. Maybe we focus on safety, repairs, and maintenance. Perhaps a more balanced approach makes more sense, preparing for the next generation of students and staff. We older staffers do feel a love for CUSD, but CUSD is not a geographical place, actually. Honestly, it's a place of heart, and we don't want to lose sight of that. We all want to leave a legacy of sorts. In the end, it's really the people who make CUSD what it is, and they are where we can find the legacy of the giants who came before us. I don't claim to understand budget frustrations, but I do understand how messaging can destroy good intent. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. Were there any other requests for public comment? Is there anybody else expecting to speak on this item? Okay, hearing none, may I receive a motion to adopt the resolution?
I move to adopt resolution number 26-11, ordering a school bond election on November 3rd, 2026, and authorizing necessary actions and connections therewith.
Second.
Any board discussion, starting with Jason?
My only comment is that I think we owe it to the community to offer them an opportunity to choose how they want to invest in the district, and I think this is the best method in raising funds to rebuild portions of our districts that are in need of it. And I support it. Everybody I talk to, I'll support it to them and tell them why. But I think it's important that we start the process now, because if we wait 2 more years, now we're 2 years behind before we start any of these projects. And in 2 years, these projects are even more expensive than they were today.
Thank you. Sarah?
I don't have any further questions. I do just want to thank Yvonne again for the very thorough presentation and board discussion that we had at our last meeting. I think there were a lot of great questions asked and a lot of excellent information provided around what the bond looks like, right? How the money is distributed, what projects we intend to do, the dollar amount of the bond. So I feel again like it was a very meaningful and constructive conversation that we had last month. So I wanted to thank you and everybody else who was involved in that for that. So at this time, I have no further questions.
Thank you. Being fully informed and with the group of people that we've contracted to keep us fully informed, and given the comment that we just received about being people and student outcome focused, it is our obligation in leadership, and I've said this before, which is that this is a course correction, to get this before the voters and give the community an opportunity to step up and do what it is that we need to be the best place to work, to be the best place to deliver student outcomes. And I also, like Jason said, believe this is the way that we get there. This is the way that we start. It only is asking for a fraction of the work that we need to do. And the best time to do it is now. So I look forward to supporting this resolution, getting it before the voters in November. Yeah. And then Jake, do you have any comment or addition to the discussion?
I do. Can I make additional comment, please?
Yes, please.
I've taken this matter and it's been, I think, really deep reflection on what this is. This is a big step forward for our district, and this is a big decision for this board. And the way I have come to that conclusion and come to the conclusion and to support this effort and push and give the voters in this community an opportunity to weigh in on a potential investment into their schools. And I've come to the conclusion through the due process that we've had over the last few months of putting the project list together, doing the work with all of the contracted services and the information that has been provided. Plus, we heard some data in the last meeting about how the community is interested in a bond at this level and at this amount. But it comes down to and I think the last speaker was correct, it comes down to an investment in our students and in our people and trying to get our district to the most and have the most available resources available and the best facilities available to actually do today's learning in a modern time. And so I encourage my colleagues to support this and to support this. And I think it's a big step for us to take, and it's a big step that we, knowing all of the information we've had, we're pushing this to the community and allow them to weigh in on it at this point. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, we entertain the motion with a roll call vote.
Board President Matt Glacier,
Yes.
Board Clerk Sarah Hines,
Yes.
Board Member Jason Romenzi,
Yes.
Jake?
Board Member Jake Odello.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There being no further business properly before the board on the special meeting agenda, the special meeting is adjourned at 7:06 p.m. The board will now return to its regular meeting agenda. Yes. Okay. Having completed the special meeting and Trustee Odello has left, I would like to reopen our regular meeting and we'll continue with information items. Meeting is open at 7:07 p.m. Item 5, information items. The following items are presented to the governing board as items for information purposes only. These items do not require board discussion or action. Agenda item 5A, Title IX, quarterly reporting, June 2026. 5B, actuarial study of retiree health liabilities, valuation date June 30th, 2025 for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. And agenda item 5C, calendar of board items. The board will now open for public comment on agenda item 5.
No.
Any requests for public comment on agenda item 5? Hearing none, we'll move to agenda item 6, public comment on non-agendized items. Members of the public may address the board regarding items or topics within the board's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda at this time. We will start with number 1. Mr. Joe Guzzi. Mr. Joe.
Howdy, y'all. Joe Guzzi. I teach at the middle school here. This is, I think, my 16th year. I've been an ACT rep for a few years, and I'm an incoming ACT vice president. So I look forward to working with y'all. I'm mainly here right now just to literally tell you that I love this place. Like a lot. And I came from Plumas County, and when I was in Plumas County, it was a really small, tight-knit place, and lots of history, lots of just tight people together, right? And when I came here, I was worried, right? Like, is the community going to be here? Is the history going to be there, right? Is the sense of community and purpose going to be there? I didn't even need to make it with students in my room when I got here, and I felt that. Like, I knew it. I walked around this campus, every staff person I saw, introduced to, I felt welcomed. I could see the vision. I could see people that cared. And then, right, like the students and the families and the community, all very present, all very real, all very empowering, as it should be, right? Because you're here on an evening, you could be chilling in your yard, relaxing, watching the birds, you know, and you're not. You're here representing your community because you know it's important. It's in fact dire, right, for the future of our community, for learning. And I just want you to know that is still here. It's here when I'm on this campus every single day, when I visit other campuses, and we absolutely, unequivocally need to keep that going. Sometimes things get lost, right? We can't be everywhere at once. We don't see what's always happening at other sites and whatnot. So we have to learn our history. We have to reach out. We have to find out what is going on and make sure that we know what's going on. We need to be careful of that, cognizant of that. Lastly, I will say, and this is a bummer for me to end on this note, but like, while it's not illegal to agendize public comment at the end of a board meeting, it's not really in the spirit of a public engagement. A board meeting is like one of the, most personal and accessible things for us. So I would encourage you to perhaps relook at that about public comment, because it is really important. But thank you, and I look forward to working with you all, and I hope you get out of here soon. Cheers.
Thank you. Annalise Bands.
Hello, my name is Annalise Bands, and I'm a first grade teacher at Carmel River Elementary School. I have taught in Carmel Unified for 14 years and have taught for 16. I am a mother to a first grader and a proud member of ACT. I love teaching. It's my passion. I have the best coworkers in the world, and I'm not just talking about the teachers behind me, but the students in my classroom and the former students who I've taught and their families out in this community. Just a few weeks ago, one of my former students graduated high school and shared, "I really appreciate everything you and Mr. Bands did for me back then. Thank you for all the love and support. It means a lot to me." Educators are the heartbeat of any school. We are the ones who show up every day, not just to teach reading and math, but to see each child, believe in them, and plant seeds that grow for a lifetime. That message from my former student didn't think a building or a salary schedule. It thanked a relationship. When teachers feel valued, supported, and fairly compensated, we bring our whole selves to the job. But when we feel overlooked, it's not just morale that suffers. I ask this board to invest where it matters most, in the people who are in the classrooms every single day, doing the most important work in this district.
Thank you. Were there any other requests for public comment on non-agendized items? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 7, informal report. Do you have an informal report today?
I'm just thinking, sorry. I just want to reiterate that as we sit here and we listen, I want to just reiterate that is our job, is to listen here. It is not a back and forth conversation at a board meeting. And I just want to really reassure everyone that we are sitting here and we are listening. And I thank you for coming. I think that's worthy of noting, that some people might not always remember or even know sometimes that that's the process of a board meeting. So I don't want anyone to leave who is still here thinking that we didn't respond. It is because we can't. It is not part of how a board meeting works or is run. So again, thanks for coming. Thanks for sharing your perspectives and your thoughts. And have a great summer. And I know that we are here working through the summer, and we will continue to do so, but many of us will also be taking some time away. So there probably, for everyone who is curious, there will probably be some out-of-office messages on several of our district staff as well who are going to take time away. So I hope everyone gets to enjoy the summer, and we'll be right back at it in August, which is our next meeting for the next school year.
Thank you. Agenda item 8, board committee reports. These are routine committee updates from the CUSD Board of Education board representatives for Community Human Services, Mission Trails Regional Occupation Executive Board, and the Monterey County School Board Association Executive Council Legislative Representative Liaison. Both of our liaisons for all three things are not present today.
I can speak to the Mission Trails JPA,
Great.
which had a meeting which conflicted. It was exactly simultaneous with Carmel High School graduation, so neither Trustee Odello nor I were able to attend. But what I would like the community to know is that I did submit a request for reconsideration of the scheduling of that meeting, because it is the second year in a row that the JPA has scheduled its final meeting during Carmel High School graduation. So, or sorry, it's not Carmel High School, it was Carmel Middle School graduation, so promotion. So I've asked them to reconsider their calendar, and hopefully next year we will have a final meeting of the year where we can hear the information alongside all of our partners in that JPA.
And we don't have any alternates, or do we have any information on the Community Human Services or Monterey County School Board Association Executive Council? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to agenda item 9, closed session. Before adjourning to closed session, the board will identify the closed session items and provide an opportunity for public comment on the items. Agenda item 9A, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code 54956.9, subdivision D1, Monterey County Superior Court case number 23 CV002840, John Doe versus Carmel Unified School District. B, public employee discipline dismissal release pursuant to Government Code 54957, subdivision B1. 9C, conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code 54956.8, property 46495, Highway 1, Big Sur, County of Monterey, APN 159021008, with agency negotiator, superintendent, chief business official, chief operations officer Jessica K. Johnson of Dennis, Walliver, and Kelly, negotiating parties, Carmel Unified School District and Fernwood Resort LLC, under negotiation, price, and terms of payment. The board will now allow opportunity for public comment on closed session items. Any requests for public comment?
No.
If they're hearing no requests for public comment on the closed session items, the board will now adjourn to closed session at 7:17 p.m. Coming out of closed session, the board reports the following. For item 9A, the board met with legal counsel and provided direction regarding the case on the agenda. For item 9B, the board met with district staff and provided direction. For item 9D, the board received an update from district staff, met with legal counsel, and provided direction. I adjourn this meeting at 8:16 p.m.